You're listening to The Josh Guillory Show, your base for truth, common sense, and a good time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host. And in studio with me, my main man, Jamie Angel.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon to you, sir, my dear friend and battle buddy. And good afternoon to our wonderful audience. We get to have a great discussion today. We are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Your hometown lawyers, you got questions, man? Call those guys. Beal and Abear. Love them over there. Man, we got so much to talk about today. I hope we can fit them in. I got to give us props. Yesterday, we fit in most, if not all, those topics. We were on a roll. Let's see what we can do today. So, man, we got manufacturing jobs coming to America. We're going to talk about at least two of them, maybe three, but they are rolling out. We appreciate that.
No, the economy's falling apart, man. Calm down.
Yeah. Hold on. Change the channel. You're on MSNBC. Oh, CNN. Oh, you're on the wrong channel. Yeah. More manufacturing jobs, more jobs for America, more Americans and America, more wins for our economy over here. Let's see here. The Senate, GOP, trying to block China from purchasing land near military bases. Yeah, it kind of makes sense to me. Kind of makes sense. Ooh, we're seeing more libertarians join the GOP. We're seeing Kash Patel and the FBI looking into the 2020 election, working with a certain senator. We got time, we'll cover that. And I hope we can cover this. SCOTUS upholding Tennessee's ban on gender transition procedures for the minors. Like, hello.
I mean, yeah.
6-3 decision. How can it be 3? I mean, we know how, but how? We'll talk about it. But first, let's go to an article from our very own Sid. By the way, it's Thursday. I don't even know she's here, but
she's here.
Well, we're going to try to get her in for super segment with Sydney. She wrote a really cool article earlier today, and it discusses the city of Kenner. You ever been to Kenner?
Well, who hasn't? You've been to the airport in New Orleans. You've been to Kenner. Got to drive right through it.
There you go. So the city of Kenner, Louisiana, has officially canceled its annual Hispanic Heritage Festival.
Why?
Well,
the weather?
No, because some residents say that they're afraid that ICE might show up and enforce immigration law. That's for real. Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, come on.
Well, when I first glanced on it, I was like, this ain't real.
That's how you know we have a serious problem.
Yeah. Well, Kenner, according to the article, Kenner does have the largest Hispanic population, apparently, in Louisiana.
Apparently also the largest illegal Hispanic, aside from, Delta Downs in Vinton.
Yeah. So, question here. Do you think, like, the Hispanic Heritage Festival folks, like, you really think they thought ICE was... First of all, 2 questions. Do you think that the festival folks thought that ICE was going to come in and raid?
100%.
And the second question is, do we think ICE would come in and raid?
100%. Look, if you got a quota, especially, you got to pick up 100 by Tuesday. I'm going to that festival.
Yeah.
Again, I know I'm going to fill the books.
Again, easy wins here. The Home Depot parking lot. I'm sorry. Easy win.
And look, I know these are people. These are human beings we're talking about.
Okay.
But again, they were given every opportunity. They even offered money to take care of it themselves.
You know what? There's a way to find out if the immigrants that are coming to our country are safe and legal and harmless. And it's called our immigration process. Now, I'll admit we can get it more efficient with it because there's bureaucracy that can be tightened up in anything the government does. So there's your meeting ground. But to say we're going to just ignore the law. When you're in the executive, they talk about Trump And I don't know what he was thinking about the oath with the Constitution. Sometimes he says things and we just kind of question it. But it's
just be talking.
Yeah. But but the folks, again, the people in politics that accuse their political opponents of doing something shady, they're the ones doing it. I mean, look at President Biden and all that, and the Democrat and leaders and Democrat leadership across the board. What other law can you say, as you swear an oath to uphold the laws and the Constitution and all the things, okay? What other law can an executive just say, I'm not enforcing that, man. I'm going to be a sanctuary. We're not enforcing murder anymore. We're a sanctuary city for murder.
Wait till the next 9/11 happens, and it's your fault because you allowed these folks. Now, think back to, I've been thinking about this lately. 9/11 hijackers, they came in, I'll give them this. They got their papers, right?
Yeah.
They were on visas. Even if we let folks in the legal way, there's still dangers with letting folks from foreign countries come into our country. Not saying don't do it. I'm saying if they got through the legal way, imagine what's getting through the illegal way.
Well,
like millions of 9/11 terrorists could have come in, and we know no better.
Let's do the math. Let's just do simple math, okay? What our reports that we've seen is 10 to 50. It's all public info. 10 to 15 million. I've saw 20 million.
20,
you know, so 10 to 20 million. All right. Let's go with 10. Let's go with 10 million. 10 million in 4 years. 10 million illegal immigrants that we know of. To your point, that we know of. 10 million. All right. Now let's go a little further. Let's say 99% are good, because we hear this all the time. They're just good, honest people working. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that a majority of folks crossing the border want a better life. I believe that they want the same things that we want. And my heart bleeds for those guys.
Especially the ones with kids.
Yes. But my heart bleeds more for American families and businesses and law and order for those American families and businesses. And I don't apologize for it, and no one else should. All right, so 10 million that we know of. Let's say 99%. And for our longtime listeners, I'm going to say that more than a year is a long time. So you've heard me say this before. 99% are good folks. Let's just say that. 1% are bad actors. Now, I would imagine it's more. I mean, you're already starting off your introduction to our country by violating our laws, coming here illegally. So I'm just throwing that one out there.
Came in as a criminal.
Yeah, literally. So let's just say 1%. So 1% of 10 million. 100,000, right? Yeah, 10 million. Yeah, 100,000.
Don't ask me to do math.
100,000. So under those very, very safe and conservative numbers, they're probably worse than that. We've let at least 100,000 bad actors in our country, just willy-nilly. Hey, just cause politics, bad politics.
Not to mention what's in their luggage. Let's see. You got
fentanyl.
You got meth ingredients. You got guns. You got terrible fungus, like deadly fungus, like viruses.
Hey, whatever. It just takes one. We let under that hypo 100,000 in, which is very rare. I'm just talking about bad actors. I'm not saying 100,000 people have fentanyl on them. Then possibly, like, how do we know? It takes one. It took 19 hijackers on 9/11 with 3 planes. Okay? This is why this should never be a Democrat or Republican issue. This should never be a political issue. We are trying to protect the sovereignty of our country, which means the protection of our people and our way of life. And look where our way of life has gotten us in a very good position. Look at the American culture. We haven't lost it. We have not lost it. We have not lost the American spirit. It's there. Just got to get some things in order.
Or maybe get these crazy ass folks to stop tearing up their own cities to protect these, like you said, possibly 100,000 people who came here to do bad things, man.
Wrong with you?
What? Such a simple concept.
And the same, like LA, 20 million. So far, it has cost the taxpayers over there for their little peaceful protest. Can't have a peaceful protest with a little tire burning, car burning, looting.
That's a lot of social programs you just wasted.
they'll
$20
get more.
million, you could have got some Meals on Wheels, some food stamps for people who are perfectly capable of working.
Yeah, could have paid their NGO partners. They're going to be really upset. They probably found their way into that too. Anyway, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. So much more to talk about. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios right here in Acadiana. Woo, Jamie, that was some wild discussions here on the break. We just kind of extended a little bit on this ICE stuff. And speaking of protest, well, we were talking about protest. I noticed that on Fox News, Hannah Ray Lambert is reporting that Marine veteran and stand-up comic Justin Governell.
And former scout sniper.
Sound the charge, my friend. Sound the charge.
Give him his props.
That's right. He said scout. That's why. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And he's also stand-up comic. So he crashed a left-wing immigration protest in San Antonio with one of the most effective signs we've seen in a long time. While protesters waved Mexican flags and screamed about ICE and calling them all these little names, Justin held a cardboard sign that simply read, "Come to my show at LOL on June 15th.
I mean, opportunity strikes. You got to take advantage of it.
And really, not even that big of a deal, but pretty smart way of promoting yourself too, especially with all those cameras. Yeah, get you a little free pub. So the moment went viral. Liberals lost their mind.
Of course.
Protesters called him a known agitator and urged each other to share his face. You know how they do it. It's so stupid.
A known agitator. Like, why? Because his views were different?
Yeah, exactly. Y'all are
so done with these folks.
Comics, hello, comedy. Like, the left usually embraces that.
Well, and they're the first ones to be like, it's my right. I got the right to be here and speak my truth.
But I love
he's speaking his truth.
Yeah, exactly. I love the whole share his face. Like, there's such a little mob of Karens. Like, the far left is, a bunch of angry white women.
That was his intent.
Gee.
He wants people to go to his show. You are doing him a solid.
I love it. I think it's so smart. And you're right. He was a scout sniper. Oh, by the way, his mom came to the U.S. from Mexico as a migrant worker and gained citizenship when he was 11 years old.
So she came the right way.
She came in the right way. He says he understands why migrants want a better life, but he supports, just like us, legal immigration. Legal immigration and secure borders. Thank you, Mr. Marine. He used the protest to market his comedy show, and he drew a packed crowd, and I say, that's pretty clever. So what if they're furious? So what? Governor, he said his mission was to bring a little humor to a tense, divided country, and yes, he does plan to troll again.
I love that. I was like, yeah, keep showing my face. Let's go.
Look at him.
Promotion.
That is so I wish you guys could see it. One day we'll be able to put it up on Rumble, I guess. I don't know, but that's
keep our city neat. No ICE. No one is illegal on stolen land.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. But this is gold. This is a former Marine using comedy to cut through the hysteria and nonsense is gold.
I hope Trump meets with him.
He probably would.
Can you imagine?
I thought he was clever. We should all go to a show.
But Josh, families are being separated and broken apart. Meanwhile, this guy's using it to publicize himself. Sad.
Oh, man. What other quotes do you have over there? It's pretty bad.
How can some of these people not want a better life in America?
Yeah.
No, that was him saying
Yeah. Well, I would say that cardboard sign he was holding up, I think it did more damage to that protest than a full hour of counter speeches ever could. It's so silly. Like the way that these grown-ups act. And I just, how did we let this happen? But I guess it's been happening for about 40, 50, 60 years now. Since the 60s.
I guess.
Just spoil little churn.
This is the best part. That's why I went to Iraq and got blown up, right? So you can say and believe whatever you want and vice versa.
There you go.
Sir, that is well said.
That's right. Governor is a Iraqi veteran.
He can do whatever he wants.
Look.
Well, not whatever, but you know what I mean.
Look. He's just trolling with a purpose, he says. He doesn't say that. I said that.
You know what? They ought to Tucker Carlson some of these people who are protesting and be like, do you know...
Speaking of which,
what's your protest?
I don't know if our lovely audience has seen yet or not. You saw the interview between Carlson and Senator Ted. And I thought it was AI. I was like, is this real?
People live in Iran. Do you know what the ethnic makeup is of Iran?
I didn't know how to look. Ted Cruz sometimes
they have a
to
history.
me. Oh, do they? Okay, all right.
They have a here, but apparently they had made peace in 21.
Okay,
bits and pieces I picked up along the way, but they got a little bit of a history. But look, I've never been the biggest Ted Cruz fan. I still think he's Canadian.
Do you like Ted? Do you like you and Trump? Do you like Ted Cruz with the beard or no beard?
The beard kind of from his distracting face.
All right, another question. Do you think he ever wears overalls?
100%.
I'm and I want to see if
he doesn't wear overalls.
Okay, so you don't think at any point in his campaign trail or anything, no overalls?
I bet he's got
straw hat,
footed pajamas.
Okay,
with the butt that unbuttons. That's what I bet.
Oh. You thinking onesie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
With
the yeah, absolutely. Like this is official. Over 100%. I'm sure he'll be on the show very after that. But, yeah, I was a little taken back, but I really was. You know, I like what he says and all the things, but I mean, it sounds. I don't know how much sincerity is there. I
He's
think
about
that's
as efficient as our other senator friend that we're going to name.
I don't know. I don't know that. I really like sincerity. I like when someone has true passion and
I-49 South, and the man spit out a couple of generic, not even related talking points, and proceeded to invite us to do a live Facebook video or something. Like, I can't stand that, and that's the vibe, because Cruz is talking this big stuff, like we got to go in there, we got a regime change, we got to knock him out, blah blah blah. But he doesn't know anything about what the situation on the ground is.
Sure sounds like someone who's never been to war. All right, so. Yeah, but I thought that was, I mean, hey, again, Ted Cruz, appreciate your conservative votes when they're conservative. I just don't know how to take the guy. But maybe it's just me. I don't think it is. But that can apply to a lot of people in office. And it might just be, I don't know the guy. Maybe if I knew the guy, I would say something totally different. You know? I'm sure there was some folks that took me the wrong way. I don't know.
If most of them would just shut up and do what they're doing, like just go do your lawmaking, and don't talk all the time.
Yeah,
you stay out of trouble. Yeah. You stay below the radar, and you're probably going to get reelected every single time without fail.
If you just let the speaker and maybe senior leadership talk on the cameras, and let them do that, and you guys like actually focus on lawmaking and legislating, and because y'all are committee, I mean, those are important. There's a lot of important work that goes on. By the way, I heard Congressman Clay Higgins last night. You did too. You're with me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The Acadiana Republican Women. I've heard that guy speak so many times, and it's always great because it's genuine. I love that. I really believe. I'm not just saying. I thought that was one of his better ones, and it's just kind of, just really just an update. But
always enjoy listening.
Yeah, I love it, man, because he's sincere, man. Good, bad, or ugly. You can't ask for more than that. All right, guys, stick around. My favorite part of the whole show, the phone lines are about to be wide open, and I can't wait. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Bill and Bear Studios right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Your hometown lawyers, go see those guys, Bill and Bear. Tell them we said hello. Tell them they'll treat you right. Hey, been to Old Time Grocery lately?
At Old Time Grocery for lunch.
What? Did you mention the Josh Guillory Show?
I didn't physically go.
Oh.
I was at your office.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we ordered it. And I know that Jenny said, yes, the Josh Guillory Show. And if you go to Old Time Groceries and you mention the Josh Guillory Show, you get 10% off of an already affordable meal. And you know it's good products. You know it's made here locally, owned locally. You know, Glenn and his crew. They're great over there. So Old Time Groceries, go check them out. In the show, you get 10% off. All right, phone lines are open, 232-1542. If you are watching on Rumble, and I want you to watch on Rumble, rumble.com. Go to Rumble. Follow us on rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show, and we certainly appreciate that. Before we go to the phone lines, I got to tell you, one point about the Tucker Carlson and Senator Cruz interview, I don't like the gotcha. That's the only thing I was going to say. I don't like the gotcha questions. I thought Tucker Carlson came in at him a little hot needlessly about the whole population thing. Not an unfair question. Not an unfair question. The second question about the ethnicity or whatever.
Yeah, the makeup.
Yeah, the makeup of the country. Yeah, okay, I get it. I don't think anybody benefits from gotcha questions, and I don't like the arrogant laugh afterwards. That's just me. That's me. That's me.
But
That's
for the
take.
people who are like, well, why does it even matter? It matters because if they do go and they take out the Ayatollah, well, you're destabilizing this country that's already unstable. And you're basically, you got to find someone to fill that void, or you're gonna end up with a situation like Vietnam, Iraq, wherever. Pick a country. Afghanistan will stay there forever if they don't identify who can take command and transition them to a more free sort of democracy.
I think we're all right. So the generals in the Desert Storm, a lot of them served in Vietnam, and they saw that, and they understood that philosophy, and they understood exactly what you're talking about. Then we had the Iraqi War, okay? The generals that are making decisions now, a lot of them are veterans of the Iraqi War and the Afghanistan War, and they understand exactly what you're talking about.
I hope so.
So, well, I hope they do. And I do. And I think we have a president that does not want it in a long time. Like, I think right now, I think that's the biggest escalation you're going to see from us. Maybe some help with air superiority if someone comes in, and I hope that. In Pakistan, keep talking your noise. Keep talking your noise, Pakistan.
Another thing, you see, the senators need to be aware of that too. Like, all the more reason these senators need to know what's going on.
Jamie, if you just send them a link, they can watch the show every day. They'll be all in.
GPT. I mean,
no, you go to rumble.com and watch the Josh Guillory Show. We'll help you out. Let's go to the phone. This is my favorite. We're going to Major from Brewer. What's up, Major? Buddy? That's you, Major.
Hello.
Yeah, that's you. What you got? That's
hello.
Hey, caller, that's you.
Oh, you know.
Oh, my gosh.
Now he can hear us. Major.
Jeez.
Hey.
Major, what's up, Major?
Hey. You know, before I say my point, you were talking about the Marine comedian, right? Earlier.
Yeah. At the protest.
Yeah.
Saying, come check out my show, man.
So what's the Marines motto? What's the Marines motto? Is it Semper Fi, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know what I'm retired Navy, but you know what the Coast Guard is now, right? It's Semper Longus Costus. Just wanted to
always along
say hi to my coastal friends out there. Yeah, I'm retired Navy, and I always loved that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here kind of. I'm like, what's that mean?
Semper Longus Costus.
I love it.
Share that with
Anyways,
John.
I love the Coast Guard. I do love the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
I'm retired Navy, and I get to fight a Coast Guarders, and it was a great club.
Well, thank you for your service, certainly, our fellow brother in arms. Well, thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm watching that interview where he said, "Over blesses Israel is blessed by God." no, but Tucker corrected him and said it comes from Genesis. Well, Tucker was wrong. It comes from Deuteronomy. And then later on, when Ted Cruz mentions that the Iranians tried to assassinate Trump, Tucker was like, well, where's your proof? Well, I mean, and he's like, well, everybody knows that. And, you know, of course he couldn't, it was on the spot. So Cruz couldn't remember exactly, but the Southern District Court of Southern District Court of New York indicted an Iranian for attempted assassination on Trump, and the guy evacuated to Iran. So there was another two things that Tucker Carlson had no clue about. He wasn't even correct about the Bible verse, and he had no clue that the Southern District of New York actually did convict an Iranian for planning to assassinate President Trump.
Thanks, Major. We got to move on, bud. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Major. Thank you. Hey, good points. Yeah, let's go to the next call. All right, caller, you're live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, James, New Iberia.
All right, James.
I wanted to come to the defense of Cruz for just a bit, because I find that, you guys seem to be suggesting that he's not passionate about, his beliefs. But,
no,
when I look at all these senators in Congress, the only two that seems to stand out as being the most passionate about conservative beliefs and really, challenging the woke leftists, the other senators and people that go in front of Congress, are Senator Hawley and Cruz. So, I mean, it just seems to me that, he seems to be a pretty good senator standing up for the values of people and not, covering, down, hiding, from the public, or just going along with the flow. He's actually standing up for what's right.
Yeah, we agree. We agree on that. I think, look, he's absolutely a conservative. I never said that. My personal opinion is he comes across disingenuous. That's just me. I love his voting record. I don't like his voting record on the omnibus spending bills. I don't like his voting record on the fiscal stuff. But that's in his defense. That's pretty much every Republican up there and Democrat. Not all of them. But look, hey, he hung up. But caller, you made really good points, man. I love that. And yeah, Senator Cruz was without a doubt a conservative, and I'm not anti-Ted Cruz at all.
And I'm not either. Let me make that clear. I just think these people should know what they're talking about. If you're going to say we need to go and do this, know all the facts, because that's a very heavy decision to be making off the cuff.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, but there's two things that I think we can say with confidence, okay, before we go to this caller. One is he's absolutely very conservative, Ted Cruz. And two is, I think you're right. He wear a wine. Let's go to the phone. What you got from bro?
Hey, fellas, just a thing with Iran. I think in the past, we've had plenty of reason for the United States to strike Iran. But it seems like now that, it's in Israel, they have a right to defend themselves, but, they're taking themselves into territory that can't finish the job without us getting involved in. And,
yeah, but
like
that's
I said, we've had reasons to strike Iran in the past, and we didn't do it. And now, we're just in the point where we may have to. And the other thing is we could just drop the price of oil if we wanted to, and that would take a lot of Iran's capability off the table.
You're right about that, but when we have a previous president that's draining our strategic reserve, it kind of puts us in a pickle. But yes, no, hey, look, Buck, you're spot on. Very spot on. Very, 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 very spot on.
They're dragging us into something they can't finish, so without us. So we need to be very careful about that.
I agree, Buck.
Thanks,
I agree.
Buck.
All right, let's go to JP. JP, what you got, my man?
Hey, guys, in response to that, it's a good point, but whether they're dragging us into it or not, if Iran would have attacked Israel all out, we would have had to come to their defense anyway.
Yep.
If China did it, if Russia did it, we
Yep.
would have to be in their defense. So I don't feel like they're not dragging us into it. Things that can be done. I mean, Israel can hit their oil fields. Israel can hit their electric grid. Israel can borrow a B-2 and a bunker bomb buster that we don't necessarily have to be involved. Israel can hit the same spot over and over until they open up a hole big enough to get there. There's a lot of ways to do it. But really disappointed in Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Steve Bannon, and the likes that are just being a traitor to Trump. They rode his coattails to success. They want to act like they made him. They're going to turn around and stab him in the back because they want to be isolationists when they don't realize that if Iran would have gotten a nuclear weapon and they were weeks away, they would have used it on Israel, and then they would have used it on us. Yeah. And if we'd have had to go to war for anywhere in the Middle East, we would have needed Israel's help. So why are they saying we should leave Israel out to dry and mind our own business when every time we go to war in the Middle East, we use Israel as a base and for all kinds of things?
Oh, big time.
Disgusting that they are going to be the crack in the togetherness that liberals have been waiting to see on the Republican side. Completely astounded that it came from these people.
Well said, JP. Well said. Hey, and look, that's very well said. My take on this, though, just if anybody's wants my take on Tucker Carlson, I thought he was off on that. I thought he was, I led in with that. And I don't know if our previous caller heard me or not, but I am not defending Tucker Carlson because I thought that was unprofessional. I thought that was gotcha questions, and I just don't think the public is benefited when you do that. That's just me. That's just my opinion. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Bill and A Bear Studios right here in Lafayette, Louisiana, your hometown. If you got little questions, call those guys over at Bill and A Bear, my buddies.
That's right. Hey, there's a light out at Jefferson and the Evangeline Thruway, the northbound lanes of the Thruway. So watch out for that. Thanks to Tony Dasseries for letting us know.
Thanks, Tony. We got an app chat too.
Yeah. Yeah, that came on the chat, and then we got another one. I just got to get back to all of them, but it was from was it Desio?
Think so.
Desio said that butt button talking about Senator Cruz onesie pajamas. That butt button's officially called the Lindsay button.
Come on now.
Come on.
All right.
All right.
Let's talk about this Tucker Carlson thing a little more. I'm telling you, when you sent it, I immediately text you back and said, that's fake. That's AI. I was definitely taken back, and I am not defending Tucker Carlson how he acted. I mean, that is kind of how we shoot ourselves in the foot. Now, Ted Cruz should have been more prepared. Okay? Got it. Or don't talk on something that you don't really know or can't talk about. If you are in those security meetings, then be quiet because you have a clearance.
That was a little nut. What do you mean we?
Yeah, well, but even that, I thought, okay, when you go with just that question, I thought Senator Cruz just made an honest mistake where what happened, he was in a fork in the road. And instead of just saying, look, I misspoke, he doubled down. He's like, of course we're helping him or whatever it was. I mean, with our approval or something like that. Or
look, there's no doubt every step they are taking, there is an American in the room. There is no doubt about that. But does that mean, like, it doesn't mean we're directly involved, nor do we need to be. But again, we do need to do as we can to him to make these decisions.
Yeah.
So let's all take a pause and let him do the job he chose him to do.
Exactly. If you're going to be a conservative Tucker Carlson and you're going to be all sitting by the president and everything and all these little ceremonies, just don't be an ass. Don't be an arrogant ass like you were. But he comes across that way sometimes.
Because he is arrogant.
Well,
I mean, we can call a spade a spade.
I liked his reporting on his show when he had it on Fox News. I thought his takes were very interesting. I thought he had some good analysis. But no, we don't gain anybody to our side if we're smug. That's all I'm saying. And to me, the way that he treated Ted Cruz was smug. And Cruz, being on the defensive, probably did the best he could. Okay.
Oh, I would say. Well,
I mean, that was some. I thought below.
He got real defensive.
Yeah,
when he could have kind of spun it and kind of just been like, "Well, Tucker."
That's what I'm saying. Just take
you might be a walking encyclopedia, but I'm not. You know, that's why we have a staff and we need help with certain things because we can't remember every single detail. But I guarantee you, we're on it. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, and even keep it on if you have, because you just don't know. I mean, that situation developed dramatically in the short period of time he was doing the interview with Tucker Carlson. He is a senator. He is not the president. He's not a secretary. He's not the Secretary of Defense. He's not a Joint Chiefs. He's not a chair of any of the departments, or any of the branches. Like, he's a senator. It's powerful and all, and I get it, but that's just not. He should have. Right. He shouldn't have taken. He should not have gotten defensive. I've gotten defensive. I get it. I understand.
But at the same time, if you don't like Tucker Carlson, guess what? That's okay. You don't have to like him. The world's not going to fall apart. You don't have to like every single conservative there is out there because you're going to disagree with some.
Who are you talking about? You?
I'm just saying in general. A lot of people are pissed off with Tucker Carlson. Be mad. Yeah. Be mad. But don't let it make you angry. Don't. You know what? Somebody he obviously has a history with Ted Cruz. They don't like each other. So that's their tiff. Let it be.
I didn't even know that until you said it earlier. And but I mean, professionalism, I don't think Tucker Carlson should have come at him like that.
I agree. There's a better way to do it.
Because I think that needlessly helps opponents of this president who already has enough people to fight within his own party. And I think that those types of got you questions on an otherwise only opportunity to talk to the people there's only 2 or 3 channels, and that's one of them. So, or one of his platforms, I'm sorry. But regardless, there's only so many platforms. I just don't think you help the cause. And there's a lot of folks that do that. So I didn't like how that went down. I did not like how he spoke to Senator Cruz, and under the circumstances, now that doesn't
Save
take
that for the libs.
Yeah,
Do that
exactly.
to the libs.
Now that doesn't take away my earlier comments. I do still believe he comes across disingenuous, but it doesn't make him less of a conservative, except for them omnibus bills.
Makes us look weak.
Yes, needlessly. So I am not on Tucker Carlson's side on this one. That's all I'm saying. All right, guys, stick around, guys. We're going to be right back. Hour number 2. Norm, we see you up there, buddy. Call back next hour, my man.
You're listening to The Josh Guillory Show, your base for truth, common sense, and a good time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios right here in Acadiana. I remain your very grateful host. And in studio with me still, my main man, Jamie Angel.
Hey.
Good. All right, let's go to SCOTUS.
Let's do it.
That's the Supreme Court of the United States. Well, the Supreme Court has upheld Tennessee's ban on gender transition procedures for minors. Let me say it differently. The Supreme Court has upheld sanity. Why was it 9-0?
Can you imagine? Okay. We talk about rioting.
Yeah.
Imagine if the Supreme Court ruled that we cannot stop these crazy things happening to our children.
Yeah.
That would give me a pause, and that would provoke me.
How old do you have to be to get a tattoo?
18.
Okay. And probably because that's, for the most part, irreversible. Outside of...
Or it takes a lot.
Yeah, you got it. But for the most part, unless you go do all these things, it's reversible. We don't let minors go get tattoos. Okay? For a reason, because it's irreversible. And if you do, the parents have to know about it or something at minimum. If the law doesn't say that, it probably should. So why on earth how can anybody say a 16-year-old can't get a tattoo, but you can go turn a boy into a girl without telling your parents?
Get a driver's license until you're 16.
You can't contract until you're 18.
You can't buy a house. You can't make that, and that's a big life decision.
Right.
You're saying cutting off your junk.
Yeah.
You can do that when you're little.
You can't even go into those establishments right side of football you all frequented. Oh, that's a supply shop.
Hey. You know, birthday. Sell 30. You know where Martha Jean hangs out?
Oh, is that it?
She might work there. I'd like.
Okay.
I might have got. Yeah, they
Barter.
the news.
Oh well, all right.
Cooch them off for the bedroom.
Okie dokie. Well, let's move on.
Nick Hagan.
You know it.
And what's that other lady's name?
Sonia Sotomayor.
All the ladies, I bet, except for Amy Coney.
Yeah. She got Catholic on us again.
Yeah. Right.
So Chief Justice Roberts wrote the opinion, or wrote the majority opinion. He explained the law doesn't warrant heightened scrutiny because it doesn't classify on any protected basis. Now that's a lot of legal jargon, but that let me explain a little bit.
Thank God we got you.
Hey, well, at least on this one we do. At least we on this. So we've talked about scrutiny before in this program. So when the government, let's take equal protection, for example. When the government treats a class of people that are similarly situated to another class of people, then the equal protection clause can be invoked. And so what does that mean? All right, you can't treat them differently. Well, what does that mean? So the Supreme Court over years, over decades, or 150 years now, has created jurisprudence, case law, to tell us what the heck that means, or how to determine that. So there's certain classes that are protected. For example, if the government discriminates based on race or on alienage, all right, which is that's in the news, then the government can. But it can only do so if it passes strict scrutiny. That's what he means by scrutiny in there, and heightened scrutiny. That's the toughest one. So in that situation, the government's actions can only be constitutional if it serves a compelling interest, whatever the hell that is. Okay, and so it must be really, really important. All right, it is what the courts say it is, but it must be a really, really important reason. Public health. Think of that. Public safety. Things like that. Things that you can never, ever bring back. It's irreparable. Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. And it must be narrowly tailored. So what does that mean? Are there any less restrictive ways? This is what I always think of. Are there any less restrictive ways? To all my Rumble people, you can see my visuals here. Are there any less restrictive ways to achieve this compelling interest? All right, so that's one example of heightened scrutiny. There's intermediate scrutiny. We'll pass it. It's the same analysis, just different levels. And then anything else is given rational basis. And the law is presumed to be constitutional. So that means the person that's challenging has the burden of proof. And the court can, on its own, under rational basis, can come up with any legitimate reason. And the law would, and as long as it's related to it, that reason to do whatever they're doing. I don't know, like protecting kids.
Seems like sort of an elective procedure. Like
it is.
I can understand.
Of course it is.
A medically necessary procedure.
That ain't one.
Exactly. So why this is even an issue when we're talking elective procedure, that if your arm's hurting, and you can't just go to the doctor and say, "Can you please cut my arm off? It hurts."
Exactly.
An adult didn't do that. So saying a kid is saying, "I don't feel right with this genitalia. Can you please remove it?" Stop.
It's a kid. It's a child. You don't let them get tattoos. So it's irreversible.
I bet the people who are willing to let their kids change their gender are willing to let their kids get tattoos and piercings.
I'm talking about the law.
Well,
if you happen, they have to sign. So the law would say, and I don't know this, and I'm not licensed in Tennessee, but if the law says that you have to have parental consent to get tattoos, and you're
to make their own decisions, Josh, they can complete thoughts because they have brains. So why they're individuals?
Well,
why can't we protect their rights? They have feelings. They have needs, Josh. They want to do this. Why can't we let them do what they want?
Yeah.
Because they're children, you moron.
I mean, come on. Just a little thought. God. So social media lit the heck up after that ruling, as you can imagine. Matt Walsh called it a fatal blow to the child mutilation industry. I thought that was a good line. Charlie Kirk, who's becoming more and more popular, at least on my page. Not my page, but my scrolling. He's very, my wife, Jamie, got me turned on to this guy's stuff. He's pretty good. And he goes around campuses too, and he educates, and he's bringing in the young folks. Really cool. So Charlie Kirk said it's a massive win for decency and common sense. Riley Moore called it awesome news.
Totally awesome.
Totally. And said states should absolutely protect children from chemical or surgical castration. Yeah. The American Principles Project declared no more irreversible harm in the name of ideology.
But Josh, it's inhumane to chemically castrate child molesters.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the same people who pick it and be like, "You can't do this. It violates their human rights."
Yeah. Eighth Amendment.
Same people who go and do it the same thing to children. It's
You want to talk about cruel and unusual? Because they want to, on that argument with the castration, which and the AG here did a wonderful job defending our laws. That was a wonderful law that the legislature enacted and the governor signed into law. The castration bill. If you molest a child a certain age, you get absolutely. Why don't we
let kids become cops? I mean, if they're able to make such heavy decisions, they should be able to make decisions that necessary for a police officer.
I mean, how can some people not see that? And we let people vote. That's the scary thing. Those people vote.
We fight to protect their right to vote.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
dummies.
No, I'm just saying, like, just a hand, like an ounce of thought. an ounce.
I wish some of these folks would call it, like, if you support
Yeah.
mutilating children or whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it,
That's
whatever.
right.
You crazy, you support that, call and tell us.
We'll be nice.
Own it.
We'll be nice. 232-1542. We want to hear from you. If you think boys should be girls and you're okay with that, and the parents don't have to know, and you supported the 3 justices that ruled against common sense and sanity and science, call us.
I know there's not enough support for liberal radio in this area,
That's
but
true.
we'll give you
We could
platform.
be your opportunity. This could be your opportunity to convince a whole bunch of, because our audience, so very, very smart, very, very in tune. They will be able to get it.
very learned.
Thank you. Very learned. My Jamie said, I can't use that word anymore because no one knows. Yes, you do. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Bill and Aber Studios right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Man, so great win for sanity, great win for common sense, great win for our country, great win for other states. Now have a path to start codifying, start putting into written law some of these common sense measures. The 10th Amendment is alive and well. That meaning that any power not granted to the federal government in the Constitution is reserved to the states. So this state, Tennessee, is exercising its right to govern what is not listed in the Constitution, meaning it's a right. And in this case, it's transgender, transsexual operations of minors without even telling their parents.
How do
that
you
makes sense.
feel? You being transgen,
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I've grown accustomed to this, comparison. Us true transgenerationals, transgen or trans is how we identify. We often get lumped into these other guys. I just don't know. I don't know.
I'll tell you this: 18-year-olds, I don't care what you do. You want to do that? Go do it. It don't bother me nothing, but don't do it on the children.
No?
I'm out of it.
Yeah, man. I mean,
even 18's pushing
18's pushing it, but I mean, you're an adult. I get it.
Or what do they call it? Your frontal lobe or whatever. Now your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed or something. I'm
Hey, so crazy. Anatomy's liberal.
I used to watch it.
Yeah, I used to watch it start when 25.
I thought this is
woke.
Oh my!
They subscribe to the woke.
Boy, they doubled that. They tripled down on the woke.
Whoa!
Oh yeah.
We're starting to see start to join the GOP, join the Republican Party.
Not to be confused with liberals.
Yeah, no, very much the opposite. So I read a little piece from Haley Bullis over at the Washington Examiner. The former Libertarian vice presidential nominee, Mike Tremont. Did I say that right? Tremont. I always butcher his name. It's spelled a little different too. TER space MAAT. Mike Tremont.
Fancy name.
Awesome. Mike Tremont. Anyway, Mike Tremont and also more than 40 other libertarians just walk away from the third party and join the Republican Liberty Caucus. Okay. And with their goal being to influence the GOP from within and push for real fiscal conservatism. Okay, I'm happy about it. I'm okay with that. Someone needs to push fiscal conservatism within our party. We have lost our way on that. I don't know why. Not all of them. And I, the speaker had a great point about measuring, debt and things like that. And but regardless, we need more of the fiscal responsibility, fiscal conservatism approach. And the libertarians, they're conservative fiscally and socially. They're like, do it.
I love it. To a point.
I would say our founding fathers were libertarian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, federal government very limited. States, you be you. Virginia, you want to put everybody under government control as long as it doesn't violate the federal Constitution. Yep. You be you, baby.
Don't proselytize. You're crazy over here.
That's all right. But the fact is, if you look at the policies of the Constitution, both the original Constitution and the Bill of Rights, they came within 2 years of each other, written within 4. Yeah. So, but still, that is very much a libertarian approach.
That's why they left England, because they didn't want to have to be a part of that church, and they didn't want people telling them how to live their life. They want to make decisions for themselves. And
yeah, and they want to picnic with engines.
Had to.
So let's talk about a few key here. Mike Tremont, who ran with Chase Oliver in 2024, this last presidential election, left the Libertarian Party, joined the Republican Liberty Caucus, along with dozens of others. So we've confirmed that. They say the real fight over the future of public policy is now inside the Republican Party. I would agree. I mean, we're moving more to we're not going to be a one-party state. That's almost impossible here. but we're moving more to a dominant party with factions as opposed to a two-party. Now, that's not going to stay like that for long. Democrats will eventually get a charismatic leader, and Republicans, we will, how does Joe say it? Snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
we'll do a very good job at that. Although I do like what I see right now. I see a lot more unity outside the Senate, so I guess we don't have too much unity. But I do like, the speaker is pushing the president's agenda and at a rate that's quicker than his predecessors, and I appreciate that. So we're seeing some good stuff. But yeah, these libertarian leaders, they make a good point. The real fight is within the Republican Party. So in Republicans, man, we invite thought. We invite, and Congressman Higgins talked on that last night at the Acadiana Republican Women about how there's he's been there 9 years, and he said he's never felt pressure to vote for something or not something. Like leadership doesn't go in there and say we're going to threaten to primary you or whatever, but the Democrats do. We'll drop $1 million to primary you if you don't vote this way. Now I don't know. I've never been in Congress, but I trust the guy that told me last night.
You bring out of the box thinking. Democrats are very much in the you do things the way they've always been. The same people get their pockets greased. The rich get rid of the elites. As long as they're taken care of, you maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
You get especially some younger conservatives that come in like you, kind of disrupt the apple cart, do things a little differently, disturb the bureaucratic state.
Whew.
Maybe get some things done that maybe took 30 years to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like some drainage initiatives.
Yeah.
And then when you finally do things, the Democrats, you have overturned the apple cart. They will do everything to destroy you because you made the system. You exposed their lie. You exposed their complacency, their laziness, their machine.
Getting deep.
I'm just saying. Woo. And that's what happens when people start to expose some of the insanity.
And you know what you're saying. First of all, I agree with you 100%. You are right. But you're right when you see some of those people start not really getting mad at the results, getting mad because you didn't go through their little kingdom. You didn't go through their little bureaucratic power tunnel.
Or conforming and taking credit.
Oh, exactly.
There's a lot of that.
Not going through a certain process where their partners are paid.
Fundamental flaws with the project.
Oh, God.
So he came in and read it needed so much better.
If you're not good, just know. Just know. They're trying to get you telltale signs of a public duty to share the BS that we're able to learn with you in our experience. In office. Certain buzzwords like sustainability means to the rhinos. Resiliency, those are a big 10.
We'll do fast.
Oh, no, that's bureaucracy.
We need to take our time to study.
Blue. That one
makes me want to vomit. I think of mayonnaise every time I hear that. And it just
mayonnaise. What did mayonnaise do to you? Mayonnaise. Yeah. All right, guys, stick around. Phone lines are going to be wide open. 232-1542. Guys, go to Rumble. We need you on Rumble. Go to rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. Give us a follow and watch us live. We appreciate you. back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear Studios right here in Acadiana. Hey, you got legal questions? Call your hometown lawyers. Beal and Abear. They're all from your hometown, all around here. All of them. So, guys, I got some sad news from CNN. A CDC vaccine expert has resigned after RFK Jr. purges advisors.
Why?
And can we get more clarity, CNN? Oh, there it is. Dr. Fiona Havers. Okay, so she resigned. She's a CDC vaccine expert. Wow. That must be something.
The only one. I mean, it must be a big deal if she just...
Everybody's an expert in their own mind at something.
What am I an expert
in? Yeah. Well, hey, man.
It's a good question.
Being a great producer and
thank you.
Battle buddy.
But I'm not baby Uncle Baby Bill's mom.
Oh, man. We got to
not win.
So let's one of the great shows. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's see here. Live on the Guillory Show. Warm, you got my in.
Oh, I got the 57. That must mean they got 56 different other kinds.
Pseudo Democrat, kind of. But I think the Ayatollah, I mean, desperate last ditch attempt at something. Like he thinks we're Satan. I mean, he literally calls us big Satan, calls Israel little Satan. And you think this man wants to like make peace?
Well, if he believes in what he says, I guess I see what you're saying. I just don't. I just know the culture, and I know leaders over there, and I know that a lot of them are full of bleep. So I mean, and they're not as strong as they say, and some of them are, but you know.
I mean, this guy's whole purpose, the whole reason for his country's
but when he
existence.
knows his butt is on the line, and Trump offers him an exile, and he and his family can live safely, he will sell out all those folks in a heartbeat.
Well, then some.
You know who didn't? Those guys went down.
I visited their death spots.
Hey, oh, did you? Hey, talk about fight to the death. Saddam was hiding. Those boys went down. Oh my gosh! All right, let's see here. Let's go straight to the phone line, shall we?
Mm-hmm. We're gonna go to Jerry.
Jerry, what you got, Jerry?
Hey, I have to disagree with you on that. The leaders and what their capabilities are. I think if you look at what is took a year planning to hit those areas, those bombing stages. It took a year of intel to do that. They have so much complex amounts that what they were trying to build, if you think that wasn't for us, you have to be around. Thank you.
Uranium they were storing none,
Never.
and they were 50% enrichment. So
When President no. Yeah.
let's give
Anyway.
our enemies anything they
You know who gets it?
JP.
JP. What's up, JP? Talk to us, man.
Oh yeah, I get it. I mean, are we supposed to honestly think that we're training warheads and R7s? I mean, I believe maybe picking up and leading them at night and giving them a ride on 747s, but I don't think we're transporting nuclear warheads.
I don't know, JP. For the sake of covertness and being sneaky, you never know, especially with the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand they are a bit brazen. You know, I don't put anything past them either. I think it's just a bit more likely they're picking up people that
Maybe
they want to give asylum to. But you
maybe
know,
both.
I'm gonna hang up. I'm gonna give my something, but sometime. I mean, just one last question.
Yeah.
Why is there one runway still available in the?
Well, I often wonder that.
You got to be able to bring in a humanitarian. I mean, you got to leave one of them.
Okay, is it only one?
Okay.
I don't know.
Because if they left only one, I'd be okay
But
with
again,
that.
do you want to leave whoever, like, you're trying to,
Thanks, sorry.
if you're trying to establish,
I get what
a
you're saying.
better, do you want to really leave them with absolutely nothing? Planes on the tarmacs, all their helicopter. I mean, they're literally blowing them up on the runway.
Yeah, I mean, Iran's becoming just decimated, and you know, hey, look, it is what it is, and you got. I mean, it's a war. I get it, you know, and you make a good point. The folks that are coming back, but man, you got to win the war first, and you got to be as lethal and strategic and with precision as and play to win in the most aggressive way you possibly can, and get done with that crap and move on. So, I mean, to me, if I had to,
type of war first.
You're right up now. You are right, and I don't know. I mean, I would hope we know that.
We're not there yet.
I would hope we know what type of war.
Look, they probably got any fathomable situation you can think of.
Yeah.
There's a contingent.
That's why I'm not like all these things. Like when you do it, I don't know, and I don't know, but I know that it's like Jamie said. There are contingencies, and nothing in the spirit of the warfighting spirit that in the last 20 years since I've been out, nothing has shown me that we've lost that. So that paying attention to detail, that turning over every rock, crossing every T, dotting every I. I mean, yeah, go back to war. War knows.
Yeah, they said they were cargo aircraft. So, and you know, there were cargo 47. That's where I got that from. That was on the news. So, you know, just wanted to make that clear. And, you know, y'all were talking about mutilating them children. John Bell just wanted to be the.
His legacy is going to be further bankrupting this state after all these Medicaid funds dry up, and we're $4 billion in the hole.
Man, yes, pray for our legislature for sure. Let's take a little break. When we get back, we'll maybe wrap up this topic, but there's a few other things I'd like to talk about. All right, guys, stick around. Phone lines are open. We can't wait. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the Beal and Bear Studios right here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Bill and Bear, your hometown lawyers. You got legal questions, I'm telling you, they're going to take care of you. Bill and Bear, appreciate the support, appreciate what you do for our community as well.
Can I just say this before I got to get out before the end of the
Please
show?
do.
We've got the best polls anywhere in the country. The best polls. The most gigantic big polls. All right. That's it. I'm done.
Reference to President Trump. So the polls went up today, huh? That was pretty
today or yesterday.
Yeah. So the president, it's my understanding, President Trump paid for these polls. He donated the funds. So that's awesome.
You know where they're not putting in polls? On that Chinese property outside the military base.
Man, okay. So speaking of which, saw a story on Newsmax by Nicole Weatherholz, and she sent a Republican move to block China. Finance U.S. military installations. Thank you. So the new legislation is called the Protective Bases Act. Jamie, I appreciate this. I always love legislation that just gets to the point. Nothing a little cute. Protect Our Bases Act. I'm cool with that.
Stop the Madness Act.
Yeah,
stop doing that crazy
BS.
But
act. Just like, but really, they work. I feel like sometimes staffers over there work so hard to get the perfect acronym.
Oh, the Cut It Out Act. How about that?
Or the FAFO. That's an executive order.
Love it.
All right, so the new legislation in 2022 episode where a Chinese company with ties to the Communist Party, Fufang Group. The name tried to purchase land near Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota.
Oh, I wonder what they have there. I'm dying to know.
So at the time, the CFIUS, that's the federal body that reviews foreign transactions for national security, said it couldn't even evaluate the deal because the base wasn't officially listed as a
Oh.
Wow. So broke this was I want to take note. Grand Forks was left exposed, and city itself, not they, the city itself stepped in and blocked the purchase.
You know, this is the same region where we had that big old shiny silver Chinese balloon the size of a rat.
Man, yeah, they just know aerial.
Getting the view.
He's taking photos.
We'll put the little cows there.
Rice.
Oh, I don't know. They genetically modified.
You're right. Yeah. The Chinese duck. Yeah. Okay. Would fix all that. Now that's interest. Federal government. I'm wondering how they can do that in the States. Absolutely, they can. I just did it in my head. If you could only come dancing there. All right. So, but the bill would fix the problem. Now, it would require agencies, the CFIUS, that agency that oversees these kind of transactions, it would require these types of agencies to update their lists every year and report to Congress which sites are flagged for national security. We weren't already doing that? I mean, that's my question when I saw that. Like,
we
weren't.
A shell game, though. I mean, they've got so many ways of doing this.
Yeah, but outside of the exceptions, because you can't do, for obvious reasons, you can't do that. But for outside those very few exceptions, this is a wonderful bill. But man, we weren't already doing that.
I mean, if you had good zoning laws and you zoned properly, you wouldn't have to worry about stuff like that.
That's true. But I mean, I'm just talking about in place to look at all of our institutions and determine which one's a threat. Legislation ain't do nothing about that. I mean, it's a good legislation, and one thing that comes out, it would mandate these agencies. So when you have a president that's not focused on the military like Trump is, at least there will be some of those checks and balances. So that was I love this bill.
Yeah. Or how about this? How about buy all the land within a 10-mile radius?
That makes sense.
That's what that's a place they have. You know, New Orleans, and it says you're entering into this NASA region or whatever, where they the rockets and all that. Exclusion zone. It's called an exclusion zone.
Okay.
No one's allowed to build anything in that area because they test very sensitive things that could explode.
Okay.
Well, on a military base, it's a very sensitive place that a lot of stuff that can explode, and we don't want our enemies getting up and close.
Yeah, and if you don't want the military to buy it, they can at least encumber it.
Or you buy it and then slip it.
Just don't let China buy it.
Don't let China. Don't let any foreign country land in our land.
Yeah, exactly. China in the song Gulf of So see, as virtually the will by yeah. Now we're putting a backdoor infiltration because that's exactly what it is. Backdoor infiltration. Oh no, I must think about it. All this on you too. All right, let's go to Big Chris real quick. Big Chris, I got about 30 seconds, my man. And what you got? And Mr. It's the Gulf of America.
I think that Guam was going to tip over with extra refugees. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Chris.
All right, we're back to Blue
Mr. Blue Wave. Hey, I always puts me in a good mood because I know his heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
And I can take that. I golf, I already have a compromise. We're going to go fishing. My shirt's going to say Gulf of America. His shirt's going to say Gulf of Mexico, and we're going to have a good time. Now, Mr. Blue Wave, I fish at the grocery store. I'm just letting you know that. I catch every single time. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. You had a blast. Be careful out there. May God bless you and be kind.